friend who?
Tato, Sedi.
Okay, it's kind of like new, the setting, everything, but super excited.
But I think also, like, since I've known you, your family has been we are the Christian family.
But you see, that's the issue. Your family is the Christian, but in my head at that time, it was more like, man, do you, man? You only live once. Even though I was surrounded by people who were Christians, did the things like but for me, it was like figuring it out for myself. Who is Jesus for me?
For you, not what your family has told you or what you've been told at church, at school, everywhere. I think, for me, the most part as well has been that way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Ekaya, we have been Christians, and stuff like that. But my mom was not much of a churchgoer. She used to be when she was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
But I think life happened. And then, sort of to me as well, life happened to me. Well,
it happens to me.
Yeah. Like, I remember when I accepted Jesus. I accepted Jesus when I was still in high school, actually. Mm-hmm. But still, it was not as deep as how I know him now. Because back then, it was mostly what I have been told by other people and what I've been told at churches as well. And just loving being at church, not really understanding why am I going to church? Like, who am I searching for, to be honest? Mm-hmm. But I knew that there was somebody that I had to love because he created me and he created me to be the person that I am today. Yeah. And he loves me regardless. So basically the part of it was that. But along the way I also went through my own, I think. Not that I think, but I did.
Go.
I did, And that was like 2017, 2018 when I had my kid. Mm-hmm. And then but from there, that's when I would say I started wanting to really know who Christ is. Yeah. So I would say that's where my journey started, but I was still not where I am right now. Until, funny enough, I met a guy who made me want to search God. Funny enough, and I know the topic is like singleness, but at that time, I never understood, but now I realize that some people come into our life for a reason. Yeah. And it was that guy who made me realize that, you know what, this guy was in my life at that point, so I can actually know who Christ is. That's beautiful. Remember?
And like, you'd never think who was a guy. I mean,
exactly.
That's by far the last thing. Okay, so a question I'll ask you, so I'm guessing Sobuzani Buzo as we go. FYI, we're gonna chop and change between English and isiZulu. We apologize in advance because English is not my mother. How was your life before Christ?
Okay, do you mean like in a singleness form or just like
just in general? How was your life?
My life before Christ was like another day, guys. You know when you don't fully understand your purpose, you just leave. That's how I can put it. Like, there was no really a serious meaning. I just wanted things my way. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to achieve my things. Yeah. Of which my things were like the earthly things, of course. Mm-hmm. And then my brain was always on having friends, being that person, the loud person.
That you were.
I used to be very loud. Very. So, and also like, I think, just like wanting to be seen most of the time and wanting to fulfill a void inside me. I think, actually, to be honest with myself, I think it was mostly me trying to fill in a void within. I think most people do that as well. If you don't truly understand who you are, you need to impress people by filling in whatever it is that you're lacking within you. Yeah. And I think that's when I got lost. And not just like my journey, like trying to understand who God is, but my journey of life and purpose. That's how I got lost. Like trying to be something that I wasn't. Yeah.
You can put a whole sermon about being something that you weren't.
Oh, dude, like.
Yeah.
How is yours?
For me, like, weirdly enough, I've always known that I was destined for greatness. Like, that's just something I knew within. I think my frustration was, how do I get to that point? Because I acknowledge and I know that there's a calling in my life, but you don't, like you said, growing up in a Christian family. Yeah. for me, I was just told Jesus. That's the way. That's the
Yeah.
like taboo everything else. Don't you like you know me? Like taboo everything else. You just focus on God. That's that. And I'm grateful for that background. But you know, when as a child you acknowledge and you realize that my life journey and my life story is not the same as my mom's or my dad's or my grandfather or my grandmother's. But I do acknowledge and I see that, listen, I've been called for something. I had this longing to do something great, but I just don't know how to do it. I think for most of my childhood, it's just always been that. And obviously just trying to, I think the biggest part of it was knowing that you're called for something, but feeling like you were not recognized. Like I had to fight for a spot in wherever, like I had to, when you don't fit in but you're trying to fit in, that's the best way I can explain it. Like always being under someone else's shadow, like
the backup guy,
exactly.
You know, and then you never recognize because there's always a hero in front of you, and then you're just like.
So for me, that was my, in essence, and I think that like I'm a bubbly person, but I think it led me to just being a reserved and a quiet person. You know, you just chill and you go with the flow of life. And
do you think after all of that experience, you feel like you've never had a voice? Like you never had a place to come forth and be like, hi guys, my name is actually Google, and you know I am quite an interesting person, and
I think I continued my life based on other people's perception of me. I was just like, it's fine if you think that's me, that's okay. And it's only now where I'm like learning to understand that I have a voice. And it's okay to be who I am and not shy away from it. And if people don't like that, it's okay. Clearly, you are not my people. It's fine. And it's hard sometimes because you're dealing with, but I am learning to understand that it's okay. But that was just like my walk before Christ. Just like trying to be seen and trying to like, listen, I have something. Can you just listen to me? But
Isn't it interesting how we just like, we both trying to be seen but in different ways? Right? I mean... It's like, I know that I've always been seen for most part of it because I have a mouth, you know? And I think as a person who, I mean, remember day one when I came to JJ?
Yeah.
And...
you took the people by storm. Here I was thinking we're going to sit together during lunch. This girl goes and finds herself the most popular friend of friends. And I'm sitting there and I'm just like, I can't sustain. And I think, it was just like...
And, you know, like, the weirdest thing for me about that experience is how everything just, like, changed and unfolded. Like, from grade 10, because it's like grade 10, 11, then 12, I started, like, separating myself from a lot of people. And then, because I saw a lot of people were against me in some way, you know? I mean, I don't want to mention names, but I remember people like bang peang I met the guy like, yeah, this girl. Hatred, you can feel it, you can feel the hatred from the bottom of your heart. Like you thinking, let's see, I'm gonna learn if I'm not careful, like it was bad with some people, you know. And I think I felt it, and I started like separating myself from a lot of people. And I mean, you gain nothing from being known. Honestly, that's what I've learned from that experience. You gain nothing. If anything, you gain a lot of people who don't like you. And from that experience, that was the part where I realized that, you know what, the walk without Christ, as much as you want to be seen, but if you don't put Christ first, you'll never be seen regardless. Because as much as I mentioned that I was trying to fill in a void within me, because of all the people that I was trying to, you know, get, but I never actually covered anything. I never got to, like, you know, cover that void. Like, guys, deep down I'm lonely. I'm crying. Our friends. I'm true friends, you know, because I never really got the true friends, you know.
And it sucks. Like, when you see some people with true friends and you're just there.
Like, you just wonder. But, like, also, what I got to realize that along the way, I lost you as well. And I think at the part where I lost you was mostly after I had a kid. I just left everything. And it's because, like, I was suffering from my low confidence and anxiety, depression. I was suffering from a lot. I mean, being a single mom, guys, that one is another story for another day. You know, so I started suffering from loneliness as well because of the social anxiety, separating myself from people. But I'm also grateful for that journey because it has taken me here. Now I'm able to be a better friend. I don't think I would have been a better friend at that time. I don't think I ever was a better friend, to be honest. And I'm sorry.
You had your days. You had your days. But like one thing I want to say is, in as much as you're saying you weren't a better, like you weren't a friend, I also feel like I had those days where I was just like, I wasn't a good friend. And at some point, you remember, I even sent you a text and I apologized.
Yeah.
And you were like, it's okay. And you were probably like, what's wrong with this girl?
Yeah.
But I think I had gotten the conviction because at that time, I was still deep within my journey with Christ.
As well.
You know, and God gave me certain revelations. But, you know, you had a friend, but, you know, things happen. Of which, at the same time, I'm very grateful, Guti. We lost contact because at that time, we would have fought. Like, we would have fought because we were not seeing eye to eye on a lot of things, and everything that happened in our lives kind of boiled down to this moment where we can actually I think we can
proper conversation as well. I mean, remember back then I was like laughing. I mean, the topic is singleness right now.
Yeah.
Imagine singleness back then. Like us having this conversation back then.
I remember us having that conversation back then. In the thing, what do you call townhouses?
Yeah.
And then I was like, I had a crush on this guy. Bro, I won't forget it. And we were sitting in the pavement. And then there was grass just after the pavement.
I remember that.
And then there was sand somewhere there. And you were like to me, Cuckoo, maybe you want the grass, but the grass doesn't want you. It is the sand that wants you. In my head, I was like, are you really serious? Are you serious? And then I responded to you and I was like, I don't care if the grass doesn't want me. I don't want the sand. I want the grass. And I'm going to get the grass.
Yeah.
And I was just like, till today I think about it and I was like, yeah, no, the things we used to say and speak about. And I think at the same time, it also like points out to the strong boldness that I have now.
Yeah.
You see, in as much as now I'm talking about like singleness after having a relationship with God is, in as much as guys do come ask me out and everything, having that sense of strong-willedness and knowing this is what I want at that young age, it's so not easy, but it comes much more easier to me to be like, oh, I'm a guy. I don't want you.
Yeah, I don't want you.
Sorry.
I'm not
Peace out.
I'm not desperate in my life for me to just like go in with anything.
Exactly.
I actually like touching on that. It's so amazing how journeys could be. Like Njoma Oshomuti, as much as you have not actually even been through the whole experience that I have been, but also it's the because you always trusted yourself. You always knew what it is that you wanted, you know, and that's a beautiful part of you. Because you trusted that. Like when you told me that you wanted the grass, I can't even believe that I say that. I remember that I say that, but I can't believe you to say that. But it makes sense why I would say that at that time.
Yeah.
I mean, the way my reasoning was, guys, very concerning, very concerning. But I am sorry that I say that. I can't believe I say that. But anyway, and like I'm thinking of one time when we were having a discussion, like now when I started my journey with Christ, and you told me about the guy, we won't mention the guy, but we went to high school with him, and then you say to me that you rejected him. And I was like, yeah, Kuku, don't go for it. You remember? You remember that one? Yeah, that's one that I remember because that was a good deed. and don't get me wrong, guys. The guy is cute. Yeah, he's cute, but there's just something missing. He's not what you're looking for. Like, and I kind of like, are we truly looking? Like, what is looking? Actually, that's an interesting topic. I was wondering, what is looking to you? Like, what's the whole definition of looking to you? For me, honestly, looking is, I'm prayerful about it. That's looking for me. I'm just prayerful about it because I acknowledge that. But do you think you're like welcoming to? I'd like to think I am welcoming, even though my eyes are not. But I'd like to think I am when you get to know me. I don't take nonsense. I think with my past flingships, if I were to call that, specifically this one individual, I think, and I'm grateful to God for this person because
it has taught me not to tolerate any crap
from
anyone.
Yeah, I think having that one wrong thing, teaches us that. I also remember the guy who introduced me. Yeah. He's the one wrong thing, actually. But yeah, grateful.
You're grateful. Yeah. I mean, when it happened, I wasn't grateful. Like, best believe I was the bitter girl. I was like, I hope he meets someone who will break his heart and everything.
Let him crush dick.
Yes,
but the same.
When you heal, you acknowledge that I learned a lesson, and I'm grateful for that. And now I know what I deserve and what I don't deserve. Yeah. And the moment I speak to a guy and the guy blue ticks me, bruh, I block you same time. I don't even think, because you're taking me back to where I am healing from.
Exactly.
And I'm just like, I'm not having that. And I think one of the ways I'll find the one for me, if I have the one, is this person will be so open to communication that I won't have to push him to communicate
with you.
It will come
I feel
naturally.
Like a lot of things come naturally with guys when they are interested in you. Exactly. I mean, a guy who's not take for instance a guy who's not your type but is interested in you. Doesn't that person put in effort?
But they put in effort. You can read. I like you from a distance.
From the moment he walks, you can tell his eyes is drying. He's just drowning for me right now. But a guy who you like, but is not in a mutual note with you, you can sense with this guy, he does. And the craziest thing, I don't know about you, but I tend to have this thing of hope. I don't know why. But like, you would sit there and you would see, no man, this guy is not really feeling me based on how he's chatting with me. Yeah. But I was just like still sit and be like, okay, let me just wait. I think, you know what, the biggest problem is other people's opinions, honestly. Because if it were for me, like, not like basing my life based on other people's opinions, let me have that person disappeared from my phone. The moment that I just saw with the eye, you're not putting me as a priority over a text. You're gone.
Yeah, but you're being hopeful that maybe.
I think I'm being hopeful because people say I am too picky.
But what if it's not picky, it's the standards you have?
Exactly, right? And then, but it's like also the thing of where people be like, when I say, let's see, you know what, I can't tolerate, like right now, I'm on a talking stage with this guy, man.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm in this talking stage with this guy, and we've been chatting for, I don't know, you tell me from my perspective, like, but this is my reaction to it, man. We've been chatting for like 1 week, almost 2 weeks now. He hasn't asked me out. He hasn't called me. He hasn't even said, okay, let's video call because we both on Tinder. Fine. But now I'm like thinking to myself, this guy's not serious. Because I've like, so far, when I chat to a guy on Tinder and this guy is interested in me, this person says, let's go out or let's meet. Or let me have your number. I love rejecting. I'm sorry.
It gives you some sense of power.
Exactly. And also, it kind of like reassures me that this person is kind of dating me at this point. I don't know, but it kind of does. I mean, if you've been chatting, like now in my head, I'm like, for how long is this person trying to keep up a talking stage?
Yeah.
That means, I don't know, but me, I'm dating to get married. I don't want to be dating for 5 years and the person never marries me. I'm sorry, I'm rejecting that over my life.
The passion!
I'd rather be single. Like, I hold it very tight in my head that I'd rather be single than to be in a whole 5-year relationship and a person does not even think of marrying me. I feel like it's a waste of my time. Then what are we doing?
Yeah.
Don't you think it kind of gets to a point where you just have to ask yourself, like, what the hell are you doing?
But, like, that's nice. Things are issue. When, at least it's a week, bruh. At least. Count your blessings, fam. Mina, it was a whole blessed month. Where, okay, at least we had moved. Well, I knew this person. Okay. So, the person had my numbers. Okay. And it was, you know, like, when you know, like, for a whole month, it was like that. And then, like I said, the person started showing those toxic traits that I hate. And I was like, oh, hell no. Not delete. So,
Was that after a month when you started showing the traits?
The traits. It was after the month.
Okay, so between that month, it was just a talking stage, like no meeting up, nothing.
No meeting up, nothing. But the conversation
I think
was
that
flowing.
is like my biggest fear, because I've also had that happen to me as well.
Yeah.
And I learned through that experience, like you say, because now you learn through that experience, you can't let that happen. Because I mean, it's so clear. This is why I'm reacting right now.
Oh.
2 weeks, bruh. I feel a month coming my way. You know,
you subtly hint to Uti Puti. What are we doing?
So last night, funny enough, so last night he was like, he didn't ask me out. That's my problem as well. He didn't ask me out. So now I learned that he actually has like a busy schedule at work.
Okay.
It's understandable. And then he was telling me that when he's free, can I massage him? Yeah, he didn't say, let me take you out, let me have your number.
What a turn off.
Thank you.
No, babes, cut him loose.
I did that today. Like I was telling my mom that I'm gonna give him until Wednesday. I'm giving this guy until Wednesday. So I like to initiate things sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, I don't know, it's the 21st century. Is it the 20th or 22nd?
It is.
It
But I mean, like, that's another conversation on its own. Even the dating on like you're about using Tinder. That's another conversation on its own, because you find people who are in the Christian walk who are just like, because you're about. So that's just, I commend you. I think, I commend you on that.
Yeah, I feel like some guys, I don't know. You see, that's the thing, that like when you hear other people's opinions, and then they keep on telling you, maybe this guy is scared. That is like, dude, you can't be scared of me.
No. I think one thing I've learned with the guy that I was telling you about, the toxic guy, is when a guy likes you, he will go out of his way to make it clear to you that he likes you.
Amen.
Because, so this guy was two-timing me from what I heard. And for me, he asked me out. I was like, yes. It was like years asking me out, and I was like, no. Eventually, I was like, it's okay. And you know, at that point, when a female makes the choice, it's okay. And you don't know it's okay. You have decided to truly just embrace the guy and be like, let's
go out.
A few months later, the person, no, not even a few months, a week after I said it's okay, the guy vanishes out of thin air. Like, vanishes. I call him into order. I'm like, you're not going to be doing this with me.
Yeah.
You can't ask me out and then
And
vanish.
then vanish. Yeah.
To tell you, red flag number one. But because Babe was hopeful.
Yeah. It's the hopefulness. It's the hopefulness. That's a problem.
The hopefulness will drive you insane. The guy
Trust
responds
me.
and he's like, I was trying to find myself. The crazy girl in me is just like, you should have done that before you asked me out. Like, didn't you think that you need to find yourself first
But the
before?
hopeful girl.
But the hopeful girl was like, it's okay. We kept this thing going. I don't know where it was going, but it wasn't working.
Yeah.
But the girl was hopeful. I would send texts. Mind you, I'm still in high school. Send text, no response. Send text, no response. Since so you understand why I'm so traumatized. I'm just like, if you don't respond, my head goes crazy. Gucci, what the hell are you doing? And then a few weeks later, I get a text from a guy, and actually, come to think of it, I've always been dumped. I've always been dumped. Come to think of it. So now this guy, out of nowhere, on a Saturday, we went to church, and then this guy sends me a text. I didn't go to the normal church that we used to go to. And then he's like, oh, I need to speak to you. I was like, okay, cool. The Saturday, he sends me a text. I remember vividly. And to think, I thought it didn't affect me, but the fact that I still remember the details, clearly it did. And we they say Israel most shopper, and then the guy sends me a text. He's like, I think we chose the wrong year to start a relationship. Those were the words written on the text.
He even texts you.
Yeah.
I think like that's the craziest part as well.
And then my sister went out for like a Pathfinder gathering. And then my sister was like, oh no, the guy that you were talking about has a girlfriend. I understand that. And he was just trying to focus on that girlfriend. And for me...
And then basically you were going to be in the way.
Exactly. So for me, obviously, when a guy texts me, doesn't respond, like the first time you ask my numbers and you text me, I just know it's not going to go anywhere. Because my history is just like,
Yeah.
They've all texted. I mean, we've all chatted.
Yeah.
It didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So, but for me, no, babes, this guy, for me personally,
Do I know the guy?
Yeah, you must, but not for the screen moment.
Yeah, no.
If the guy, by God's grace, say for instance, we reach 1,000 viewers or whatever, and he sees it, he will know.
Listen to me, F you. You will know that it's you and you suck. For that, you suck. For that, you suck. But also, I feel like it's a great experience, to be honest. So you have to go through that because now you know what to do and what not to do. So we actually thank you in a sense.
I am grateful.
Jay.
And I'm no longer bitter. Like, honestly,
Yeah.
I pray for him from the depths of my heart that he meets someone that will show him what love is.
Yeah.
Because at the same time, I think when a guy hurts you, a hurt person hurts.
Oh,
And
amen. That is so true.
I think at that time now where I'm realizing that, okay, maybe this guy was going through something that I couldn't understand at that time, and I couldn't help him.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't my job to help him. I'm not saying every girl should go be
You're not a
rescue
therapist.
911. No,
Yeah.
that's why we have therapists and coaches and all
Yeah.
of that. When be a little flower. I hate
Exactly.
it when a guy expects you to be strong.
Yeah. You know what, ne? With my line of work, I realize that guys expect that from me. But I've also learned I am not your personal therapist. I'm gonna be my husband's personal therapist.
Thank you.
No other nigga in this world.
No ways. No ways.
No. I cannot be putting so much. I cannot be investing so much energy for what's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
You know, I think this goes back to like with my complaint with the 2 weeks. I feel like when a month hits and you guys are not going on a date, you start acting somewhere there as a girlfriend. You know, somewhere there you start doing some girlfriend duty. Somewhere there because you start giving advices and that's a girlfriend duty. I don't know, ne? Maybe I'm wrong, but that, for me, that's a girlfriend duty. If you are sick and I say, oh, you should take some water, I'm being a girlfriend.
Yeah, that's
you know,
true.
and I know I hold a whole personality like that because I'm a mom.
Yeah.
I'm a carer. I love to care.
You're
you know?
a nurturer by nature.
Thank you. By nature, I am. So when I know, when a 1 month hits and this guy is not taking me out, I want to find myself in a situation whereby I'm taking care of this person as if he's my boyfriend.
Yeah.
And I hate that. I don't want to be part of that. And that is the main reason why I am ending that one.
Indeed, my sister.
I am ending that one because I don't want to go through that. And it becomes a cycle. If you don't stop it, it becomes a cycle. You keep attracting the same people. You keep on doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. And eventually you have to put a stop, guys. You have to put a stop. And to some people, you may think that I have a high standard as a person. Another thing that I wanted to raise, as a person who has a kid, it's kind of hard to find a person because you have a kid. So now there's this whole stigma behind me that you've been for the streets. Bear in mind, I've never been for the streets, my love. I've been for the streets in the other way, but not in the other way.
Yeah.
You know? And it hurts when you get judged like that without even people knowing your story. But also, I've learned not to explain myself to anybody because I don't owe anybody an explanation. I owe my husband an explanation.
That's true.
But I do not owe any other nigger an explanation. So now, when guys ask me, like, where's your baby daddy? I don't go that far anymore. When they ask me how which gender, what's the gender of your child, I'll be like, it's a boy and he's a whole teenager right now. That's all I say. If you continue to date me even after I told you that, then clearly you want something serious with me.
Yeah,
you know?
That's true.
But if you dodge around it,
yeah,
go, man.
Like at the same time, I have a cousin who has a daughter, and I remember speaking to her. I mean, she was expressing. She had recently had the child, and she was expressing how frustrating it is having a child, and then obviously your dreams are placed on hold and everything. And then obviously people being judged. People
will always judge you.
And the church.
Woo!
And the church. Let's not forget that.
I think the hardest experience that I had to experience outside church. At church, I don't know, I didn't get much.
Yeah.
Because for a long time people didn't even know that I had a kid.
Yeah.
And my church exactly, I think really noticed that. And they always saw me as like a small kid. So now I come up openly and be like, I have a child. We are doing now, even though I look 13, but I have a kid. You know? And they are all accepting of it. But before that, not at church, but my experience was when I went to return my kids' clothes. Guys, I think even if you can have like 10 kids, you can never be a perfect parent. You know, I think you always make mistakes. Now I'm talking to like the single moms out there. If anybody has ever made you feel as if you are not a good mom for getting a shoe size of your kid wrong, that person has a problem. It's not you, it's the person attacking you. Because that woman attacked me, bruh, for not having the right size. And she started attacking me for my age, as if she was the one paying for my kid, as if she was the one who was taking care of me, feeding me, guys. The person who was feeding me, taking care of me, did not even say anything. She's the one, if anything, she's the one who was like, no, it's cool, go return my shoes and get the right size. No. That woman was like on my case.
I don't know. Some people are just too much sometimes.
Yeah, like
too much for your own
it's a shocking experience. And it's a hurtful experience, to be honest, as well. You know, I'm not saying support me, but I mean, you can't be like that towards me. You know?
Like, learn to mind your own business until someone comes forth. Even the Bible says mind your own business. I will quote it. When I find it, I will put it on the video.
Yeah.
Even mind your own business. But then what I was trying to say is, I think when she said that, I told her, I was like, listen, don't beat yourself up because supposedly your sin is flesh now. Yeah. There are so many people like me who are sinning day in, day out. Yeah. But because it's
not out there.
Now it's like, yo, this kid.
My mom said that. My mom said that when I had my kid. Because it was a shock. I mean, even I was shocked, guys. Even I was shocked because I always saw myself as a person who is. I never wanted to be a common person.
Yeah.
My mom has always taught me to not be a common person. And I think maybe that is why, as well, this kind of affects me when people judge me and be like, you're for the streets. Meanwhile, I know very well that I've never been for the streets. I've been for the streets in a different way, as I had mentioned, but not in that way. Like, I've always kept myself. Even now, I'm keeping myself, and I'm very proud of keeping myself. You know? But, like, being judged when people do not even know your story, it kind of hits differently. Alright, I think firstly, let me just ask you, what does singleness mean to you?
Singleness for me, am I doing it now with my walk with Christ or before, or based on both?
Maybe start before.
Okay.
Yeah, let's start before.
Singleness before I honestly had a relationship with God was, when am I gonna get married? That was singleness for me. And even before that, it wasn't, at that time I wasn't marriage orientated. I would say I was a strong-willed feminist. Singleness for me at that time was, I don't need a guy. I can do literally everything a guy can. I just need a guy when it comes to our good night sessions. I'm being honest. Like, honesty is the best policy.
Yeah, basically that's the whole purpose of a man.
Like, that was that just was it for me. I remember I even said that in my life science class to one of the guys that I was like, I don't need you guys. I just need you for a good night session or when I want to have kids. That was just me.
I remember once you said that.
I was a very strong-willed person. I didn't believe in marriage. I was just like, whoever I feel like deserves me, I will give myself over.
Why is that though?
I think partially because of the books that I used to read. I used to read a lot of novels. And
I remember.
I mean, that's another topic on its own, but that was another conviction for me where I stopped reading novels. And I relapsed and I went back again. But like now, I'm like trying to unlearn that and to just be like, and it was a journey because singleness for me was, okay, there's this whole baggage of reading novels which qualify as porn in as much with all these details that it has there. And then there is a guy in front of you, and the first thing I see is the guy shitless, no six pack. That's what I saw.
I mean, you know, and it does give like a deeper detail because it's very. And
I was very into the bad boys. Don't tell me about a good guy. Listen, you bought the living daylights out of me. I was very into
the guy you crushed in high school was like that guy.
I kind of still do.
But he is cute though. Oh my god.
Right? I sometimes I go to his Instagram page and I look at it and I'm just like, Lord help me.
I can't believe it.
Like, he's cute. Like, he's cute. But thank God for His saving grace, because now my heart doesn't get dooms when I see Him now. It's just like,
yeah.
Okay, that was things.
Like think of, I wonder what's you doing? What are you up to now? Like, oh, let me just see.
Yeah, no. But that was singleness for me back then. But now singleness now is majority investing in myself and learning what I need to unlearn. Because I fully understand now that if I'm called to marriage, and I believe that I am called into marriage, whenever the time is right in God's eyes, that I need to be faithful in this season, which is singleness now, in order to be the best version that I can. And I can only pray that my husband, who I haven't met now, is doing the same thing. At some point I used to pray for my husband, but like I stopped because I felt like I was focusing so much on that it was becoming an idol. I stopped. I even burnt those books because I was just like, I can't. It's too much. I can't. I need to focus on myself. My sister was mad at me for burning them. But then now I think, now it's just like praying over my husband, praying for things that I don't want. Like, I mean, day to day, you see your mom and dad interacting, and you see certain things that I'm just like, I don't want this for me. I mean, it works for you, great.
Yeah, but I don't have the nerve for that.
Just like that. And believe in God and working on myself. I think right now singleness is working on myself, finding my purpose, and we've had that conversation. Finding my purpose, finding me, falling in love with me, and in a godly way, like falling in love with myself and not losing. You know, when people say I'm a follower of Christ, especially as a female, they tend to think, oh, you're losing your will and everything, and it's not like that. It's being an independent girl under Christ. That's what's happening now. Being an independent girl under Christ.
I mentioned also on Sunday when I said I feel very self-sufficient, but not in a negative way. But I feel like on my own I can, and I know I can. And I'm not saying again that I don't need a man in my life. No, I'm not in that mentality. I know that if I should have a man, I'll be able to like accommodate him. But while I'm still here, I don't feel I'm not drowning. Like, oh, I just need, I'm not on that mindset. I feel like, I understand where you're coming from. I understand
that's singleness then, singleness now. And what would you say singleness is for you?
Okay, singleness for me back then was something I actually didn't even want because but like singleness for me back then, it was just being lonely, honestly, on its own. Like how it's described was how I saw it. And singleness now is a journey where I get to understand who I am. Who I am outside everybody, who I am as a mom, who I am as a sister, who I am as a child of God, living my purpose, trying to find. I feel like also through the journey of singleness, I've gotten to understand what it is that I can tolerate, what it is that I can never tolerate in my life, And singleness back then, I wouldn't have been able to understand that. There were things back then that I used to believe in because of how I was raised, like growing without my father, like my biological father, kind of like brought me to where I lost myself. So singleness for me, because I never saw him being single. But again, I'm not going back to the fact that I was for the streets, guys. I was never for the streets.
And I can testify.
Like I've never been for the streets. But what I'm saying is like, I've never also wanted to see myself alone, not in a relationship to say, but in friendships as well. I never wanted to be like, hey, I'm just title and I'm just, But in my singleness journey with Christ, I've been okay with me. I've got to love myself. I've got to love me, and I don't mean this like in an arrogant way, but I never loved me before like I love me now, because then I would have tolerated a lot, but now I don't tolerate a lot because I get to understand what it is that I want for myself.
It's knowing your worth.
Exactly. Setting those standards and boundaries. I
think I still need to learn that. I honestly
that's something as well that I had to learn how to do. And again, I think when I lost you and lost a lot of people, again, I'm grateful for that journey because I wouldn't have been able to understand what that really means to be on my own and with Christ and Christ alone. I got to hear and understand God. I got to, and you know, before now when people say, hey, God is speaking to me, I'm like, hey, deep guys, how does this person speak to you, you know?
Yeah.
Now I understand when God speaks, I hear him. And I fear not hearing him. I fear not having the relationship that I have with him. I can't make moves without praying. When I make a move without praying, I get tense. On Sunday, I made a move without praying. I was drowning the following day. on Monday morning, I was like literally drowning. Like, oh God, I think I just sold my soul to the devil. What did I just do? You know, like I was just there. But that thing of him also hearing him again, like, no, don't worry, go. You're okay. I just removed all of that, like whatever it is that you were just like doing and it was not good for you. I have sorted that one out because you pray for the things you. And I learned as well how to pray and not be afraid to pray in front of people, how to consider other people as well to be a better friend. I feel like I can be a better friend right now. I think this is like a great start for me to go. And yeah, just being a better person.
I have a question for someone listening or watching, trying to figure out, how do I hear God?
Yeah.
How do I pray?
Yeah.
How do I do this thing? How would you say you hear God? And how do you foster an environment where you can honestly hear him speak?
So for me and my experiences, I would say, like I mentioned, that the more I got to pray and read the word, read the Bible, that's how God communicates with me. So like on Sunday, like I mentioned, that I feel like that message was for me because I was on some, I need to do now, you know. And then I read to tell you, that was like a last minute verse, Kubu. A last minute verse, man.
Yeah.
I just opened my Bible, I was like, okay, I'm going to read Isaiah 11 verse 1 today for you guys. And then as I was reading it, I'm like,
I see God.
Yeah, it was that moment of like, to me, this verse says, you know. And then that's when it started like coming together. And then the following day, it was like a silent voice as well that comes to me. And then there was one pastor that I was listening to, prophetic guy that I was listening to, and he said some voices, we should be careful because some voices are not from God. And I think that's also this like the spirit behind it.
Yeah.
I believe because we always fight in the spirit and not the flesh, right? And when God speaks to me, it's a comforting feeling.
Yeah.
That's how I know. So, like Monday morning, I didn't wake up and read my Bible, but it was a thing of where he was like to me. Also, before you can hear him, I think be in a silent mode. You know?
Yeah.
Like, move away from everything and just like sit, meditate on him. Like, God, Holy Spirit, speak. I want to hear you right now. I'm feeling this type of way. Don't ask, just let in. Yeah, and just listen. And you hear something, like you hear him, you hear the comfort where he'd say, like, this is what happened to me yesterday, and he was like, don't worry about it. It's been sorted out. We did not do anything as terrifying as I thought I did, you know. And it was a thing of relax. And then the day before, Sunday's verse came in that you will bear fruit. Yeah. You will achieve. I've done it before in your life. I can do it again. I'm this very same God, you know, that moved you from where you were before to the person that you are today. Like that's how I hear him.
And then if we were to say God is like me and you together, but now directing the questions, you know, answer it myself. I've never called you into marriage. Would you be okay with not having that ring?
To be honest, man, I've once thought about it, and I was like, God, no, please do. I don't want to be that person, you know. I don't want to be that person. I think somebody in the Bible, I think it was Paul. I think it was Paul who was single, and he's the one who mentions that there's a blessing from being single. And honestly, I can testify that there is a blessing from being single. And I think I also told you this on Sunday, that having to remove yourself and letting God be the one.
Yeah.
You know, it's something that I will find hard to do. I won't even lie about it. But if it's rectified and regular to you, that's what He has planned for me, then I think it's the peace that I'll have to me.
Yeah. For most part of it, for me personally, I wasn't okay with it. But I'm honestly just getting to a point where I'm like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's okay. I think we forget that marriage. It's not about us. In as much as we're gonna be looking pretty, standing there at the altar, I was watching a dear future wifey.
Yeah.
Like, listen, I don't have any connections with Latarius whatsoever and his thing, but I love that podcast so much, dear future wifey. Especially when he writes his letters to his wife. I'm just like, I pray to God my husband is doing the same thing.
I want that for me.
But like. Watch it if you want to. If you don't want to, it's okay. But I was watching Pastor Tim and Juliet Ross, and this guy was like, we need to understand, when you get married, you are going to the altar, and when you're reading the book of Exodus, what's happening at the altar? Animals are being slaughtered.
Yeah.
So when I go to the altar, me and my husband, we are dying to each other.
Together, yeah.
So I think we glorify marriage to think it's all about sex, which it's not. It's all like, it's a lot of sacrifices for your husband, like a lot of things that we don't see, which goes behind the scenes, and
which a lot of people also do not like put out there, because I mean,
so for most part of it, I want to get married, don't get me wrong, but if God sees it, listen, baby girl, I'm okay.
I think that is also something with relationships for me. To be honest, I feel like I like the idea sometimes of being in a relationship and everything, but sometimes I look at the people that I be talking to and I think it's okay, I think we're heading somewhere, me and this guy are heading somewhere, and then I think to myself, am I really willing to be sacrificing my time for this person? Some people, I might, to be honest, they're probably worth it to sacrifice the time for, but sometimes it's the sacrifices that I don't want to do. You know? And for love, because the Bible's also very strong on love, it's kind of like you have to be selfless. And to be selfless, you have to take you out, you know, and let the other person in. And like you just said as well, I don't know, I think we paused. And like you mentioned, that so much sacrificing that comes into play. And I don't know, to be honest, if I'm also like ready to make the sacrifices. As much as I like the idea of marriage and being in a relationship and everything, but I don't know. I think also it's me being so okay with where I am. Sometimes I think maybe I've been single for too long. Has that ever popped in your head? Like, maybe I've just been single for too long, and
I don't
that
think
is why
that's the
I'm
case.
thinking the way I'm thinking right now.
No, I don't think so. And then what would you say the purpose of your singleness is now?
Now, I don't think it's that deep. But, I think like going back, I'm sorry. But like going back to the part where I'm like sacrificing, the point of me being single right now is to grow God's ministry. You know, I'm very much dedicated to spreading the word of Christ. And I feel if I'm in a relationship, I may not be given the opportunity to do what I can do when I'm single. Because I'm not thinking about anybody right now but my kid. And my kid, I'm not even thinking so much of my kid, because my kid is a child for everybody, guys. You know, he's just that kid, you know, because I'm young. So, I feel like if I should get married, I may not have the time to do what God has called me to do.
For me personally, my purpose now is healing. Number one, healing, because He's doing a whole lot of that right now, and rebuking and correcting. And I think He's teaching me to be humble enough to go ask for forgiveness. Even like, you're one of them, and then there was another friend who I sent a text message to her and I was like, listen, I'm sorry if I did something wrong. And I think for me, it takes a lot to be like, I understand the fact that there was a friendship which there was you, it went south. I was the common denominator. There's another friendship that went south. I was the common denominator. At some point, it needs to ring about, maybe, Kuku, you are doing something wrong, you know? And in as much as I wasn't wrong in that relationship, but I want to take responsibility if ever I hurt the person, and I apologized, and I told the friend, I was like, listen, I'm apologizing, but mind you, I'm not expecting you to be like, let's go back, like with you and me. I wasn't like, let's go back to body.
Even I felt the same way. Like, even when you apologized and then I apologized as well, and then like we kind of made our peace.
Yeah.
But I was not as well expecting like, okay, let's go, guys. Exactly. You know, let's just. But also, now I do though. Now I do though. Like, and now I feel like, at that time I wasn't that way because I wasn't feeling okay with myself in a personal way, you know. And I felt like I wouldn't have given anything to our friendship. Also, suffering from the anxiety, like having to be the social person again, was just a draining thing for me. And I think me coming out of my shell, like me being the person that I'm trying to be, I'm not trying to be my old self, but I'm trying to be an outspoken person again. I'm not trying to be hiding in a shell. You know, I feel like if I should hide in a shell, I'll continue to lose people in my life. So I'm trying to be like a different version of the old me, but in a more mature and selfless way.
Yeah.
I think me back then was very selfish.
No. I think that's your view of you.
Yeah, but also a point that I wanted to mention to you is that, like, when you go on this journey, I feel like condemnation as well as a Christian is very deep.
Yeah, it is.
So I think when you go on your journey to try to be healing and apologize, I also think like you should check on that. Like, it shouldn't come from a condemnating place.
Yeah.
You know, like you feeling like you did something wrong and stuff like that. No. Because the devil's very deep on that.
Yeah.
And he's quick to do that. I know for a fact. And that happens. I suffer from condemnation. So, yeah, I think like maybe check on where it's coming from. Because sometimes to say sorry, even when you didn't do anything, you can just leave it at that.
Yeah, we can live it like, but I get to good to be not
unless like you know better yourself. Like
when I think about it, and I think, okay, I could have done this, but I didn't. So I just apologize to be like, listen, this is what I feel in my spirit. This is the conviction that I have. And I apologize, and we move on. Like, as soon as I ask for forgiveness, it's up to you what you want to do with it. I did ask for forgiveness. I did what the Holy Spirit told me to do at that time. And singleness and obeying God sometimes is a challenge for me sometimes. Because I
don't think being single is easy. It's not easy. It's not easy, guys.
It's not.
I mean, to think for the most part, like when I started, when I was like making the decision, like, you know what, I'm going to be single, and I'm going to celebrate, I'm going to keep myself, I'm going to keep myself from my husband, and I just had a baby. You know, so I've already had all these earthly experiences in me. It was not easy. But I think also, like, because of the trauma that I've been, it was okay for the first 2 years. But when reality started hitting in,
it sinks in. It sinks.
They started sinking in like deep, and singleness is just not the easiest thing. But now, although I'm fighting my own, but it's still not as bad as when you start.
Yeah. By God's grace.
Yeah, I think it is. It does take the grace of God, to be honest.
Yeah, by God's grace.
It does take the grace of God. Especially if you have touched on earthly things and you've made it your own.
Yeah.
And you fell in love with that earthly stuff, you know. It's kind of hard.
It's too much.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. Anyway, I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's it actually.
Yeah, like it had a conclusion, guys.
A beautiful conclusion. I mean, from technology crashing on us like twice But we are here and we are grateful. But if anything, it is my prayer, and I'm gonna be praying for the YouTube channel. That, well, clearly we're gonna have a YouTube channel for this.
Yeah.
And then my YouTube channel.
Yeah, I need mine as well. I need to create my own.
So we have two separate platforms where we do two separate things.
Yeah.
Like, we are two separate individual people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, mind you, if you were to go on Sedi's page, nothing remotely close to mine. Nothing. Like, it's just two separate people who have been brought together by God. Like, this time I can say that we have been brought together by God. Because I even remember sending you a message on your birthday, and I was like, I'm still trying to figure out where do you fall. Are you the lifetime person or are you just a seasonal friend?
And like, I was so shocked. Like, that touched me. Because like, I haven't had a friend who wrote that to me before. Like, all my friends are all like heavy HBD, you know, like all shorts or something like that. But because it's not that deep anymore, and then I just like left it at that. So that's why I'm like trying to rebuild.
Yeah.
Now I can say I can be a better friend. I can try to show up when you ask me. Not even try. I can show up if I'm not like busy. Yeah.
And I mean, you're just a phone call away. Even a walk
Literally,
away.
but I'm not gonna walk. I'm not gonna walk.
But yeah, so we are two different people, and I think God is just using us respectively and collectively. It is my prayer that it touches whoever it needs to touch. Yeah. And by far, I'm not after followers. I'm just after that one person who needs to hear this.
Yeah, always. I mean, I don't think we can always like touch everybody's heart.
Yeah.
But there will be that one person who can relate and be like, oh.
Yeah. And I mean, if your comments are not beautiful, keep them to yourself. Like,
please. Unless you kind of help us upgrade ourselves somewhere. Like, oh guys, maybe you should use maybe. But if not that,
other than that, move on. There is clearly a content that is there for you.
Yeah.
And if none of them are there, join the club and be a content creator.
Please.
But at the end of the day,
do it better.
Yeah, we are just being obedient to what we believe God has told us to do. And yeah, we love you lots, man. From Gugu and
Sato.
Have an awesome day. See you on our next episode. Love you guys.